I can say to my new Samsung Galaxy S25 Ultra, hey, find a keto-friendly restaurant nearby and text it to Beth and Steve. And it does, without me lifting a finger. So I can get in more squats anywhere I can. 1, 2, 3.
Will that be cash or credit?
Credit. 4.
Galaxy S25 Ultra, the AI companion that does the heavy lifting so you can do you. Get yours at Samsung.com. Compatible with select apps. Requires Google Gemini account. Results may vary based on input. Check responses for accuracy.
I was never really a runner. The way I see running is a gift, especially when you have stage 4 cancer. I'm Anne. I'm running the Boston Marathon, presented by Bank of America. I run for Dana-Farber Cancer Institute to give people like me a chance to thrive in life, even with cancer.
Join Bank of America in helping Anne's cause. Give if you can at BofA.com/supportAnne. What would you like the power to do? References to charitable organizations is not an endorsement by Bank of America Corporation. Copyright 2025.
Does it ever feel like you're a marketing professional just speaking into the void? Well, with LinkedIn ads, you can know you're reaching the right decision makers. You can even target buyers by job title, industry, company, seniority, skills. Wait, did I say job title yet? Get started today and see how you can avoid the void and reach the right buyers with LinkedIn ads. We'll even give you a $100 credit on your next campaign. Get started at linkedin.com/results. Terms and conditions apply.
No brakes, no brakes, no fear, no fear. The official British Speedway podcast.
Welcome along to another episode. I'm Ian Brannan. In this one, an exclusive chat with CEO of the ROWE Motor Oil Premiership, Phil Morris.
You know, this is a journey we're looking to go on to make it good enough that some, big companies might want to get involved, and that's the idea. We're striving to be better.
Looking back on 2024, ahead to 2025, both in British Speedway and a look at the Grand Prix series as well.
It could open up a bit more jeopardy and a bit more unpredictability, but also for the two guys that do score well, they're rewarded by guaranteed final position.
No shortage of Grand Prix talent in Ryan Douglas's testimonial taking place at Leicester this weekend.
Everyone was on board pretty quick and made my job pretty easy. So, the lineup I got, it's awesome, and everyone's keen to get them laps in before the season starts.
And Brady Kurtz gets his first bit of British silverware following up from his Australian Championship in the winter by claiming back-to-back Peter Craven titles.
Yeah, there was a bit of talk between us all at the start line. No one really knew which gate to pick, but I thought at the time I took a bit of a gamble picking 3, but I think I was right.
All this and more to come, plus a look ahead to the fixtures coming up over the next 7 days on British Speedway's official podcast.
No brakes, no fear. The official British Speedway podcast.
Welcome along. I'm Ian Brannan. Lots to come then, and we'll start with our main interview. CEO of the ROWE Motor Oil Premiership, Phil Morris, who's also race director of the Speedway Grand Prix Series, and we'll come to the Grand Prix Series later on in our chat. But I started by asking Phil about the state of play in British Speedway in the Premiership, his assessment of 2024, and looking ahead to a big 2025. Here's Phil Morris.
Yeah, obviously it's a stepping stone. We're trying to make things better each year. Like I said, there is no magic wand unless you have millions of pounds. We don't at the moment. But yeah, we're making the product better. Let's remember there were no commercial partners for around about 25 years. So bringing in some commercial partners in last year. And as you will see over the next few days, we've got some new ones and some old ones on board. So yeah, obviously pleasing to have ROWE Motor Oil as our, primary lead partner for the league and the title partner. And yeah, they've been really helpful. I'm sure many people have seen all the pits of the Premiership teams have all been branded out. That's on behalf of ROWE Motor Oil and Media Co, their company that they deal with. And yeah, it might be subtle to some people, but we are trying our best to make things better. And obviously we did the media day last year, which was a big success, and that will be coming again on Sunday. So yeah, it's just trying to make things better the best we can. Of course, there's mistakes along the way. No one's perfect. No one gets everything right. But we're doing our best to make a product better for the fans, for the TV, and also potentially some investors. This is a journey we're looking to go on to make it good enough that some, big companies might want to get involved. And that's the idea. We're striving to be better.
When you look at the size of the operations, and I see people compare Speedway with cricket and the 100, and they've got millions and millions of pounds of marketing money invested in that. Speedway can't compete at that level. Same for darts, snooker. These are all so-called maybe more minority sports in some respects, but they have phenomenal budgets. Whereas for Speedway, obviously trying to hold its own against those phenomenal budgets with the resources available at hand, really.
Yeah, and we do. The budgets are limited, but I need to shout out yourself, Ian, as one of the people that helps and do a fantastic job alongside BSN and all the people at the BSPL media, Dave Rowe, Joe Appleton, Andy Povey, everybody there. I really feel that you strive above and beyond where we are, obviously, from that position. So we do a great job, I think. Anyone that's looked at our social medias over the last year or two, hopefully there's nobody can question that the content is better, the graphics are better, the sort of everything we're doing is a lot better. So yeah, we're trying to appeal to a bigger audience. And alternately, at the end of the day, we want more fans sitting on the seats watching. Of course, we know we've got big numbers streaming through BSN, and we've got good numbers on Eurosport or 2BTNT. But with regards to getting people in the stadiums, that's one of the most important things we're trying to do. And there are things. There's an app in development that should be coming out sooner or later. So we're trying to modernize the sport and make it more attractive to potentially a younger audience. That's not disrespecting a lot of our fans, which we know, are probably an older generation. A lot of them are, but we really need to appeal to a younger audience, and that's the plan. That's what we're trying to do: make things a bit more cooler. Looking at our socials, I hope most people can agree. Maybe they don't, but I'm confident to look at what we got now to 2, 3, 4 years ago. There's a big woods up trend.
One of the things last year that was done for the first time was the big Premiership Media Day, which was held at Bellevue, and it's going to be happening again in a few days from recording this interview. It's going to be happening at Oxford on Sunday. But the content gathered there is still being used now. We've had the Slide to Survive videos go out on the social channels and on British Speedway's YouTube. And while the interviews, yes, they were recorded a while ago, they're still relevant because the riders talking about their experiences, the dangers of the sport, for example, injuries, and all these kind of things. So an insight into a rider's mind, but it just shows that, these media days, while it did happen a while ago, still feeding social content now.
Yeah, and I think there'll be a lot more that comes from it this year. A lot of the teams may have not utilised it as well as maybe they could have. But, the idea is to have, all the riders there make a good, get some professional pictures, professional imagery, videos, press conference. What we will be doing this year is every 7 team, every half an hour, they will go live on Instagram. So the captain of that team, so let's say it's Oxford, so the phone will be given to Magic Janowski. I don't know if he's been announced as captain. I might have dropped that one in it, but I think he will tomorrow at his press day maybe, but it's already probably announced. But yeah, so the phone will be given to Magic for 15 minutes. So it's time for the Oxford fans to ask questions, even join the chat, and they may have a question for, Rowan Tungate, so they can pass the phone around. So we're going to try and make it interactive for the fans to join in on that Instagram for their team 15 minutes. And then the next hour, there'll be another 15 minutes for the next team. And we'll send a schedule out for that. So please look out for your team's slot. And please, let's be interactive. Ask the questions that you might not have asked before and get involved in that. So yeah, alongside everything we're doing, we did see on all our social media platforms last year, the biggest event was the media day for interaction, for interest. It was a big spike. So I'm pleased to see it did what it needed to do last year. Obviously, we're going to try and do it again this year and make a lot of effort with it and put stuff out there as much as we can. Yeah, it's just looking to try and do things that are more modern and probably more cooler as well.
One other question really that fans will have is regarding the TV situation, of course. Eurosport is no more in the United Kingdom. Discovery, of course, Warner Brothers Discovery in a sort of a roundabout way own a lot of channels now, and now they've moved all of their sport offer onto TNT in effect, and they've got a lot of other bike related sports there as well, Speedway being one. Obviously, it gives Speedway a bigger platform that you have to say, the same sort of platform that's putting on Champions League football and what have you. But obviously people will have concerns about the increased cost, I suppose, as well. So is that a problem that you've been able to work with them on, or what's the situation there?
Yeah, I totally respect the fans, the cost element to it. Yeah, there is going to be more of a cost element to it. There's lots of pros and cons to the situation. Obviously, there will be still free to air on. Won't be on Quest, but it'll be on DMAX, and that'll be alongside all Speedway Grand Prix, Speedway Grand Prix 2, and British Premiership. They will all be on DMAX, and there'll be an hour highlight show every week. So if people, they won't be able to watch live, but people will still have a free to air version of a highlights package. But obviously, being on TNT, like you say, alongside Premiership football, Champions League football, MotoGP, which is the highest level motorbike sport. Pretty much every motorbike sport is on this: superbikes, endurance, motocross, Speedway Grand Prix. So there is a definite crossover into other markets, which hopefully we can benefit from. I'm sure if every people are smart, there are deals out there to be got. Not that I can promote that, obviously, for obvious reasons, but I'm sure if there's savvy enough people, you could probably get a better deal on getting TNT Sport. And again, it's a difficult one because, as you say, Warner Brothers Discovery own the product. And this has been a plan for a few years, and I think they would have done it a few years ago, but because of Monopolies Commission, they had to do it in a certain order. So we was aware that Eurosport was finishing and we was going across to TNT. But there's a lot more viewers to TNT overall, like 5 times the viewers that watch Eurosport, mainly because of football. I appreciate that, and people are logging in for Premiership and Champions League. But there's a potential that on a Monday night, they may turn their TV on and think, perhaps there's a football match on Monday night, and sort of 7:30 switch on, and you could have Bellevue v Leicester on there. So they might think, let's watch that. And we could gain some fans from it. Again, it's a Warner Brothers Discovery product, and they own the rights. They pay the money. And yeah, we do have the free-to-air, and we will be on a stronger channel. Unfortunately, it is a cost to the public. But I think we have been spoiled a little bit in the UK with Speedway Grand Prix, for example, because I think in most other countries, bar none, it's a paid-for service. Where it's been free-to-air. I say free-to-air. Eurosport is part of most people's Sky package, so it's classed as people think it's free-to-air, but you're paying for it in some way or other. So yeah, it is a big transition, and I hope people understand that, this is the same, not just for us, but British Superbikes is in the same boat. Any cycling fan is in the same boat. Any snooker fan is in the same boat. Any tennis fan, it's what they're doing as a product. They need to come to the table, TNT, and make the product right. And so it's a big transition, and I know people are disappointed, and I totally respect that. But I hope that they can get on board and understand that we need the viewers, we need the people at the stadium, we need the people helping on social media. And again, that's another thing. I made a plea last year about people helping us, and when you get people mocking that, I'm just trying to do something that, people don't need to mock that I'm asking for help for a repost or a like. It's just trying to get our numbers up to help with TNT, with Eurosport, with the general graphic of the world. So, yeah, we are trying our best, and the TNT is going to upset people. I get that, but we're trying our best to put on the best product we can, and hopefully it's accessible to people. And if they like their football, their Champions League, and all them other sports I just mentioned, it's not a bad product for all of them.
The coverage will be getting underway at the back end of April, I think, won't it? So it's back end of April for British Speedway coverage on TNT. And then the Grand Prix, of course, kicks off at the start of May, doesn't it, in Germany?
Yeah, I think in the next week we will announce the first 8 dates. And as normal with the dates, it will be one home match from each of the 7 Premiership clubs alongside the British final. I think we've already announced that the first one is at Kings Lynn at the end of April. So that will be the first one. And then it will obviously one at each track for them first 8. And we'll announce them fairly soon. But we're working in conjunction with TNT to hopefully use their platform to get some more. In the past, we would just announce it and it wouldn't be a problem. But now we're thinking of how we can announce it and get some of the MotoGP, the Superbike fans or the football fans to see that and get in front of their eyes as well. So we're trying to do it in a way that works for both parties.
In terms of TNT as a platform, they are marketing it as the home of bike sports, really. So they've got a heap of other stuff. You know, they've got the Superbikes and MotoGP and obviously Speedway as part of that. So if you are a fan of bikes, hopefully there might be a bit of cross-pollination between the sports and maybe bring some fans or even lapsed fans back in.
Yeah, and you know, when you look at their, advertising sort of poster and things, if you look at across the bottom, the one bang in the middle is British Speedway, alongside Speedway Grand Prix, MotoGP, World Superbike. So you've got to respect that, we are punching above our weight in that category, let's be fair. And I'm proud of that we are part of that category. And it's let's look at the positive of it and think we will be available to more people. And let's try and, I appreciate the negative of the cost, but we're doing everything we can to put on the best show for everybody.
Okay, so keep an eye out for announcements of the further fixtures there, and their coverage on TNT gets underway at the end of April. Looking ahead to 2025 then, obviously wanting to continue what was established in 2024, but what particularly are we looking forward to in 2025 from your point of view this coming year?
Yeah, so it's just a continued sort of upward, trying to build a graph that sees the sport going upwards. Of course, there's hiccups along the way. I'm not going to lie. I seen how badly the playoff went down last year, and that was pretty much all on me. I'd take that on my shoulders. But I was thinking of the fans genuinely at the time. And, it was one of them where I'll admit the mistake and we move forward on it. But going forward, I just want to keep going on an upwards trajectory, making it more attractive for the riders to come here, making, as you've seen in some of them interviews on that Slide to Survive, the riders are saying the tracks are better over here now, which makes it better for the riders to want to come here. And of course, when you get better riders, and you only got to look at the first two meetings, Niels Christian Everson's testimonial and the Peter Craven, absolutely mega crowds at both of them events. And it's a great start to the season. We've had a bit of good weather, which is great. Who knows what's around the corner? I won't hold out hope, because you never know with British weather. But yeah, it's been a nice start, and hopefully we can carry on that through. And just keep pushing the product as much as we can and getting it into different areas. That's what we're trying to do. Is again, I really would like to say, we're getting 10,000 at every speedway track. We're not. We know that. But there is potential to keep it moving forward. And there is quite a lot of stuff happening in the background. I think there was a piece in the Speedway Star probably a few months ago about how we're trying to go on this journey, looking for commercial partners in the background, looking for investors, looking for make it a bigger product. So it's all part of a journey, and we're trying to get that journey going.
The comparison for, obviously, League Speedway is always with Poland, which has been now for a long time and remains the country when it comes to Speedway as a leading sport. Where do you think we stack up compared to Poland? Riders talking about how actually coming to Great Britain to race, the pressure is much less, and they find it a little bit more chilled out, coming here. But the focus in Poland is, still pretty intense, and even the pre-season meetings that we've had in this country, the two at the time of recording this that we've had, Niels Christian Everson's testimonial and the Peter Craven, Polish media drawing huge conclusions from those fixtures. We would say it's probably a little bit early yet, but what's the relationship like between ourselves and Poland as well? Because obviously we all have to work together when it comes to sharing riders out too.
Yeah, of course. I think everyone knows that Poland pays the big money, and they take a lot of the credit for that. They do a very good show. And give them respect. They sell stadiums out. They've got stadiums made just for Speedway. So a lot of things they do, I understand the reality about in Britain is a bit more laid back. It's a bit more laid back because we haven't got the big crowds. We haven't got the big money. Let's be fair about that. I'd love it to be the same in Britain. I'm not going to lie about that and get across from it. But yeah, we have got a certain sort of niche in the market, as we say. And I know the riders do, like I say, when a lot of the riders feel like it's a little bit more back to when they started. They could just enjoy it, one mechanic, and just not have 6 or 7 people around them giving them different advice. But I know people will knock, but I've had a very good winter with Poland, dealing with them, with the Extra League 2. They were looking to have 2 meetings every Thursday. I got that whittled down to 1. And it's actually, instead of it being 14 Thursdays, it's only 7 Thursdays. And we've managed to have not one clash of fixture with any rider. Of course, if there's a rain off, that could change. But yeah, I'd like to think we worked well with them. And again, even this last 2 weeks, there's 3 or 4 riders that have test matches on Sunday. And I've spoken to every club. And I really want to thank them, if they ever listen to this, for allowing riders to be free to come to our media day. So, there's a better relationship being built. Of course, with a little brother, there's no way we're going to be the big brother at the moment. And we have to sort of take some advice from them, look at what they're doing. But yeah, what you say about that, it is a different sport we have in this country. Same on track, it's got many of the same riders, but it is a lot less. If somebody has a 0 in this country, they can probably go out of the stadium without getting their van thrown a brick at. So it's probably a bit better. Although I'm sure they don't want to get a 0, and hopefully they don't, but it's a lot less pressure in this country, I think.
Yeah, just to talk more about that Thursday situation, a lot was made of it, and I think probably quite rightly as well. It was quite a big issue, wasn't it, with many Polish clubs looking to race on a Thursday night initially, and that would have involved a lot of riders that race here in the Premiership, wouldn't it?
Yeah, so it was going to be 4 teams racing of the 8 every Thursday in Poland for 14 weeks. So that wouldn't have... I think we would have been in trouble with that, to be honest with you, a lot of trouble. But yeah, we got that down to sort of 2 teams racing on them Thursdays, and then we even got it down further to sort of 7. So we know there's 7 dates that there's 2 teams of the 8 are racing on. So for example, I don't know, if Bydgoszcz are racing, we know Tom Brennan is racing. So on that Thursday, for example, we make sure Ipswich don't have a fixture, and vice versa. If some other riders, if Norwich Blodron is riding, we make sure Bellevue don't have a fixture. If Ben Cook is riding, we make sure Kings Lynn don't have a fixture. So yeah, there was quite a bit of work to be done. And again, Chris Louis helped me with that, and I thanked him. We sat down, we did a lot of work on that to eliminate any of the clashes. So that was good.
And we've also seen Kings Lynn move their race night as well. I guess that helps things out too, with them moving to a Monday night.
100%, because we was very heavily a Thursday night league, but now we're sort of a 50-50 league, which is much better. We've got sort of 3 predominant Monday, 3 Thursday, and 1 sort of floater that can sort of do whatever's needed. So yeah, it really helps in that sense that we've got that communication with all the teams, and yeah, seems good. And again, we started earlier than the championship, just being a bit safer, really, just to cover ourselves in case we do have the rain-offs we had last year, which was atrocious. Hopefully we don't, but you never know.
Same teams back as well as last year's, which is great to maintain that consistency. There was a question mark for a while about Birmingham, but good to see them back at the tape. So as we were, and where do you think things go for potentially adding to the Premiership as well? But there was an attempt to get Poole into the Knockout Cup, which fell at the final hurdle, I think, didn't it? But yeah, how does the league grow over the years, do you think? Yeah,
obviously, yeah, we want to grow it. There's no doubt about it, and we want to grow teams in the league, let alone Premiership. We want to bring teams in, and yet the Poole thing was disappointed. We started with a Knockout Cup for them. They picked that date, so I was a bit disappointed when they say the dates didn't work for us, because that was a choice of Poole when we worked with dates. But yeah, and I will say on the record that it was very last minute, like the day before the fixtures were going out when it happened. And I respect Danny and Matt. They made a decision that they couldn't do it, and I respect that. And I made a quick call. I just want to thank Glasgow, because they would have taken it 100%, no issues, but it would have meant moving too many fixtures around. So out of respect to Glasgow, I just want to mention to them that they would have stepped in and guaranteed they would have done it. There wasn't a question of whether they would or not. But as you know, there's some riders that race for different teams. And I'd set it so the Poole riders would be free in the Poole fixture, and it would have meant moving 3 or 4 other fixtures when we'd already announced the Premiership thing. So that was a disappointment that it happened. Obviously, we wanted to have Poole in it for obvious reasons, to give that 8th team a chance and let them build to and you only got to look at now. You've got these guys, you've got Freddie, you've got Robert Lambert racing here this week. So there are riders that want to come over that's not part of a 1-7. And there's 2 riders that would be a perfect example to add into any team, whoever it would be. But it didn't happen. So again, that's mistakes were made and we can learn from that. And going forward, I respect obviously Pool's decision not to do it. But yeah, we could have worked a bit differently maybe and got it over the line in a different way.
Is it something you might revisit next year? Obviously, don't know if Pool or who will win the league, but supposing that the team that does come top, they want to take the opportunity, is it something you might consider?
I think it was a positive step, but I think what we would have to do, we'd have to have assurance and a guarantee of something, rather than a, provisional. Maybe that would be how I would look at it. But again, that's something yet we could maybe revisit and look at it for next year. I think it was a good idea. It was very reasonably positive. Most people thought it was a good thing. And I'm sure if Poole could have got 2 big hitters in, using Freddie and Robert Lambert, and obviously dropped their bottom 2 out, for example, and then you've got Chris Holder, Jack Holder, and Ty Woofington going to Poole, I would probably think that's going to be a great draw card for anyone down there. But, Poole made the decision, and I respect that.
The other thing, of course, that people will be discussing certainly later this week will be the 2 British Grand Prix now in Manchester. Obviously, it's comes with the situation regarding Cardiff, first of all. As a proud Welshman yourself, obviously, it was sad to see that go. But 2 Grand Prix in Manchester, just a word about that situation, because, of course, Cardiff been on the calendar for a long time. A lot of people have had their own memories of that. It's produced some fantastic nights of Speedway over the years.
Yeah, obviously very disappointed with the Cardiff situation. I think it was disappointing the way it was done, and not good for the fans. Of course, I know many people have booked non-refundable hotels, and it was a sad way to happen. And of course, I got no say in that. I'm just a race director. But yeah, it was very disappointing the way it happened. And I'm sure a lot of people will be sad about it. Could they have maybe said, let's go for 1 more year and tell people it was the last year and attract a bigger crowd? And but the money that Warner Brothers are spending is they've got to see a return on their investment. For example, the old promoter would bring 1 Arctic Juggernaut lorry to each event. They bring in 8. So the cost of bringing 8 large lorries across the UK on its own before the infrastructure and everything goes with it. So yeah, a decision was made to obviously there was, as they wrote, there was cost-cutting measures needed to be done. So they decided it was best for them to move away from Cardiff. Disappointing for the amount of time it's been there and such a beautiful stadium and on my backyard as well. So saved me driving anyway. But no, obviously going to Manchester, potentially one of the best racetracks in the world. I think most riders and fans say that. And then that went from 1 to 2. So you've got a double draw card there. In respect to the owners and Mark Lemon at Bellevue for taking this on, because I know it's a big risk for them. And I hope the fans turn out for it. And I hope we have an amazing weekend, because I'm sure seeing the best in the best around the world around that track will be definitely something to shout from the rooftop. So I'm hoping that can be a massive boost for British Speedway as well, because we can grab on the coattails of that and get good promo from it. And hopefully if we can get some riders that do well in it, that race in Britain, is good for the fans and everything. So yeah, I hope it's a really great event. Obviously the track we know gives a good account of itself. We also know that if it's a little bit rainy, we can still run there, which is a big thing to think about, because lots of tracks couldn't do what Bellevue did, what they did last year at the Speedway Nations, to run 4 events on that track with pretty much rain every day was pretty impressive. And again, respect to the riders and the teams. But I know they're all looking forward to coming near the riders, because it's a big, fast track. But it's not easy. You saw yesterday Robert Lambert probably struggled a little bit in the Peter Craven Memorial. And I'm sure he'll be scratching his head to work out how he went from being so fast at the Speedway Nations the year before to maybe struggling a little bit. So it's not a track, I don't think, that is easy for anyone. And again, I'm sure that you could have 2 different winners on the 2 days.
Well, this is it as well, and changes to how things are going to work for the finals and all that sort of shake-up could mean that we have a few twists and turns thrown up on the Friday night, and that rider who maybe finds himself out of the reckoning in the final shake-up can immediately go back and have another go straight away 24 hours later.
Yeah, and I think, I don't know if anyone read it, but Robert Lambert said it perfectly. If he hadn't done the British final and realised the engine he thought would be good wasn't, when he came back for the Speedway Nations, then he had a different one that worked. And like I say, that Friday night, you could try something, perhaps it doesn't work, and then you come out fresh the next day and suddenly you're a different rider. So we all know that Speedway can happen. On one day, you win something, on the next day you come last, and sometimes you don't know why as a rider. So I'm sure that there will be some interest in coming up on that for the 2 days.
Yeah, so that's the 2 days in June. As far as the Grand Prix goes itself, just to touch on those changes, change to the 2-minute countdown, that's down to 90 seconds, and also a shake-up in how the semi-finals and qualification for the final heat is going to work this year.
Yeah, I think obviously Warner Brothers, they assess complaints and moans, and I think one of their biggest moaning was people talking about the gardening and how long it took, and every rider pretty much gets off their bike now. You look back 10 years, that wasn't the case. It seems to be, and I know, I understand some of the riders are a little bit concerned about it, but it's just trying to think of the paying fan as saying, why are we watching riders kick the dirt for 2 minutes? So it's just a conscious effort made then that was agreed, and this will happen across all FIM events. Some leagues will also do it as well, potentially. So yeah, it will be a little different, but not a massive difference, I don't think. I understand what some of the riders have said to me personally, especially the first race when they want to do a bit more with their bikes. I think after the first block of races, it's not a major issue. But yeah, it's doing something, and I'm not saying it was my decision or anything, but obviously I'll be the race director dealing with that. And then yeah, the semi-finals being changed to 2 last chance. I think the thought of having, like, where we run the British final and 2 direct to the final and the next 4, I think Warner Brothers did think about that. But again, they wanted to keep 23 heats for value rather than 22. So it was trying to keep 23, but also I'm trying to think Andrei Ledbedev in Latvia, where he scored 14 points and didn't make the final. You're trying to award them 2 riders that did make the final. But of course, there's always a downside to it. It means the guys in 9th and 10th can now win the event on 6 points. So there's always 1 pro and 1 con. And but you've got 2 now last chance, which is going to be the winner takes all. So it's going to be quite a vicious race. And then obviously if you do manage to go out there and probably get your 13, 14 or 15 or maybe even 12, you can go direct to the final, which means that everybody's going to be racing to get to the final, number 1. And then if not, they're going to be, in the last few races, they're going to be trying to, because if you have 3 last, you could still probably win your 4th and 5th race and then make the top 10. So it could open up a bit more jeopardy and a bit more unpredictability, but also for the 2 guys that do score well, they're rewarded by guaranteed final position.
And also more sprint races as well, aren't they, this year? They work pretty well, I think. When they have run until now. Dan Bewley, obviously, he likes them.
Yeah, we're going to do more sprint races, and the qualifying. Hopefully, it'll be more interesting for the fans because we've got 16 riders and they will be paired against each other. So whoever's drawn out 1 and 2, it could be the world number 1 and 2. It could be Smarslik and Lambert in the first round. So they will race against each other. Not race. They will go on track, and the fastest of the 2 will qualify to the next round, and the slowest gets knocked out. So it's like a knockout format, which you would have in, say, tennis or darts. 2 riders go together, the next one moves forward, and the next one moves forward. So out of the 16, you have 2 groups, 2 lots of riders on the track 8 times, and the winners of them 8, the fastest of them 8 go through to the next. So you'll have 8, then that goes down to 4, and that's what gives you your sprint race. So this should be a little bit more quite easy for people to understand. Where last year, I think when there was 3 and 4 people on track, it's difficult to know who's going fast, who's not. So purely from a TV point of view, if anyone was watching it, it should be a little easier to understand.
And there are some World Championship points at not all of the qualifying, but across the ones where the sprint races are on. That's the case, isn't it?
Yeah, so it's going to be 4, 3, 2, 1. So if you make that sprint race, you could be guaranteed some points. And at the end of the year, it could be worth another Grand Prix almost.
And we have an SGP2 qualifier, don't we, at Glasgow as well, coming up. So that's something else for fans to look out for there. And certainly, well, there'll be a few riders in the Glasgow team. They'll be hoping that they get an opportunity at that, I imagine.
Yeah, I'm sure. Like I'm strong on pushing for that. I was very, I felt that from let's respect again Poland. They seem to qualify all their riders, whether they race in Sweden, Poland, Germany, Denmark, Timbuktu. So let's not beat about the bush. I know we had Leon Flint qualified last year, and I think Anders Rowe year before was a reserve. So we do need to up our game a little bit, and I think having a qualifier in your backyard probably helps a little bit. So hopefully it'll be good if a couple of British riders made the SGP2. For obvious reasons. So I think Glasgow taking it is probably not the easiest track for an international rider that's never been to Britain before to come to. I'm sure, as you know, I'll be egg on my face when a pole comes over and gets a 15-point maximum. But yeah, I think it gives us the best chance of riders getting into it. But also our riders should be good enough to do it, whether it's in Slovenia, Slovakia, Czech Republic, Poland, Germany, Sweden, Italy. They should be able to do it there as well. So let's not stand behind that excuse. But I feel we've given ourselves a little bit more of a help by having a qualifying round in the country that makes it a bit easier for the riders.
Yeah, good stuff. Lots to look forward to. Final question about there was various fans groups set up for the various teams in the Premiership, and I think one group as well, sort of overall. What's been the feedback like through them then, and how? I guess the question always usually comes from those fans that are involved. What happens with the information that they provide, and how's that carried out or carried on from there?
They're very honest, to be fair. They're not just coming on with me on a Zoom meeting and saying, "Oh, everything's fantastic." They're giving me the honest thing, and also I'm getting a report once a month of all the comments that's made on social groups, and they were passed out at the conference, the AGM, so promoters could look at them. There are some good points. A lot of them are repetitive and sort of some negative. But I always believe in looking at the negative. I always believe in looking at it because if there's a negative and people are all jumping on it, it's probably for a reason. But yeah, it's been productive. I'd like to do a bit more. I haven't put enough time into it, but I will try my best this year to put more time into it. And again, I've tried to give each of the fans' representatives some kind of vision in their club that they can help. And the idea is for them to be a representative for their club. So I suggested, I think, Dave Lowe at Leicester has always been very good. He does a column in the programme, which I suggested. And it's his job maybe to utilise a dozen or 14, 15 fans to write a column once every few weeks, just so it gives the fans voice in the actual. So hopefully the fans feel heard a little bit more. The idea is to listen. Of course, it'd be great to do everything anyone says, but reality is they understand. I explain why things can be done, why things can't be done. And yeah, I think I'm very transparent and open with them, and hopefully that comes across that they can say honest things to me as well. And yeah, I feel it's a good way of starting. It can be better, but it at least it's branching out to one from each club and someone that deals with clubs outside the Premiership as well. So there's an extra person in there to try and give them a voice. And that was the idea of it, to give the fans a voice. That's why I called it the fans' voice.
Brilliant. Well, it's all set to be a fantastic season ahead. Obviously, it's going to be busy for you. Never stops. I know, never stops with Grand Prix and British Speedway, of course. But the first fixtures in the ROWE Motor All Premiership Knockout Cup begin on Monday. And there's plenty to look at there, and certainly the one between Bellevue and Ipswich, a mouth-watering one, and you can see that on BSN as well. So if you can't make it to the National Speedway Stadium, you can catch all the action. We saw Emil, one of the rides of the night, actually, around the National Speedway Stadium on Monday night with Chris Holder. It was showing what can be achieved around there for people that say there's no passing in Speedway. You want to watch that, and that'll answer your question within less than 60 seconds. Thanks a lot for joining us, Phil, and all the best for the season ahead.
Thank you for having me. Have a good season yourself.
Phil Morris, CEO of the ROWE Motor Oil Premiership on No Brakes, No Fear, the official British Speedway podcast. In the next part then, we'll hear from Ryan Douglas. He's getting ready for his testimonial this weekend. He's chatting to Dave Rowe next.
It's time for basketball, and Uber Eats is dropping deals on game day favorites to keep you locked in on the action. Like when you're craving a buzzer beater, but also buffalo wings. Or when an upset makes you want to ugly cry into a pizza. And right now, Uber Eats has game day deals from McDonald's, Popeyes, Pizza Hut, Wendy's, and hundreds more local favorites. So you can keep your eyes on the ball and your hands on a hamburger. Order now, only on Uber Eats. Product availability varies by region. See app for details.
Uh-oh, the last cookie.
You can get a new box of cookies in as fast as an hour with Walmart Express Delivery.
Are you my guilty self-conscience?
No, I'm the voice offering you promo code EXPRESS for free delivery on your first order.
Hey, who ate my cookies?
You mean, these cookies?
Order now. Welcome to your Walmart. Promotion valid for first express delivery order. $50 minimum subject to availability. Restrictions apply.
Business taxes. We're stressing about all the time and all the money you spent on your taxes.
This is my bill?
Now Business Taxes is a TurboTax small business expert who does your taxes for you and offers year-round advice at no additional cost, so you can keep more money in your business. Now this is taxes. Intuit TurboTax. Get an expert now on turbotax.com/business. Only available with TurboTax Live full service.
No Brakes, No Fear, the official British Speedway podcast.
I'm Ian Brannan. Welcome to No Brakes, No Fear. Before we get fully in action then with the real competitive stuff, still a couple of big fixtures to come in British Speedway. We've got the Ben Fun Bonanza taking place on Sunday at Oxford, and before that on Saturday in Leicester at the Hydroscand Arena. We have Ryan Douglas's testimonial. Dougie started his career in Great Britain with Scunthorpe back in 2013 and he's actually ridden for relatively few clubs in British Speedway, just Scunthorpe, Leicester and Wolverhampton over the course of his career to date. And he's getting ready for what is going to be a all-star lineup for his testimonial taking place on Saturday. It's a 4 p.m. start and features Grand Prix stars Jason Doyle, Freddie Lindgren, Dan Bewley and Brady Kurtz in the lineup, along with the great and good of his current and former teammates as well. Dave Rowe had a catch-up with Ryan Douglas and started by asking Dougie what it's like being a promoter.
Yeah, no, it's going good. Obviously, it's a lot of organising, but I'm lucky I've had Steph on board and she takes a lot of the pressure away. But yeah, I'm just really looking forward to it now. Yeah, it's been probably a long 6 months getting things ready. So yeah, just after being at Neil's on the weekend and seeing how well his went, I'm excited for mine now.
Can you believe it's been more than 10 years, because you had a couple of years. One year was COVID, 1 year you had visa trouble as well. So it's a bit more than 10 years you've been in the UK, but it seems to have flown by.
Yeah, it has gone quick. You know, you never really think about having a testimonial, to be honest. And then all of a sudden last year I was like, geez, I've been here 10 years. So it definitely come up quick and I've enjoyed the ride, I guess. It's it's an enjoyable thing. I've like made it like home over here now and living pretty much in England since I was like 19 most of the years. So it's good. I enjoy being here and I'm excited.
You've managed to really establish yourself at clubs. You've not been one of these that moves around a great deal. You spent several years with Scunthorpe and went back there. You've been in Leicester a few years now in a couple of spells. You had a good time at Wolverhampton. So you seem to really get yourself into clubs and stay there. Yeah, that's it. I'm not one just to change for no reason really, and I've been lucky with the clubs I have ridden at. It's made me feel at home and felt comfortable there. So I've never really seen the need to change too much. And so I've been lucky in that way, I guess. You've obviously made plenty of good friends over that time because you've got a terrific lineup for Saturday. Was it difficult at all to get people to do it? I guess this time of year, everyone wants the meetings.
Yeah, that's the thing. I have spoke to a few people before, and they say it can be a bit difficult sometimes to get riders. But yeah, some people must like me, I guess, because I was pretty lucky, and everyone was pretty on board straight away. I asked them, maybe had to wait for some dates in Poland and things like this, but no, everyone was on board pretty quick and made my job pretty easy. So yeah, the lineup I got, yeah, it's awesome, and everyone's keen to get them laps in before the season starts.
Tell us about what people can expect on the day. I know you've got it's a big individual meeting building up to a final, but what are we expecting for the day as a whole?
Yeah, obviously it's exciting. I got Porky on the mic, and everyone remembers him from Wolverhampton. He's definitely a character, and likes to get the crowd going. So that'll be good to have him back out there again. And yeah, obviously the lineup speaks for itself. So the racing's going to be really good. And I've had my first practice at Leicester the other day, and the track's looking unreal. So fingers crossed the weather's kind to us, and we got some good racing, some good entertainment, and yeah, hopefully everyone will enjoy it.
Yeah, so it's going to be an individual meeting with a semi and a final. Is that the plan?
Yeah, so it'll be top 2 point scorers will go straight to the final, and we'll have a last chance qualifier with the next 4 for the last 2 spots.
And I guess it's really good that there's riders around at the moment that are coming to the UK for a week or so doing these testimonials and benefit meetings who aren't going to be in the UK on a regular basis. But again, it's good for the crowd to see people like, for example, like Freddie Lindgren.
Yeah, 100%. Freddie's made a bit of a habit of coming here before the season and doing some meetings, and obviously we don't get to see him ride that often in the UK. So people are pretty excited to watch him. Obviously one of the best in the world, and yeah, as well as like I feel like I've got some of the best riders that are riding in England as well. Obviously Doyley and people like that. Brady Kurtz is on fire. So yeah, I'm sure it's going to be a tough meeting, and there's definitely a fair few riders that can go out there and win it.
And it should be a decent day. I'm sure we're all looking at the weather forecast and hoping that it stays dry for the day. But you've gone for a mid-afternoon or a 4 o'clock start, so hopefully it shouldn't get too cold or dark too early, and a good day out for the family, hopefully.
Yeah, that's the plan. I didn't want to go too late and risk it getting too cold or the weather coming in later. So gone for the 4 o'clock start, and yeah, the weather doesn't look too bad at the moment. So, but I guess we do live in England, so we kind of just got to keep the fingers crossed in that department. But yeah, I'm not sure. Obviously, it's going to change, but yeah, at the moment everything's looking good, and hopefully everyone will be getting out there and supporting it.
Okay, but we're all hoping it goes well, and we're looking forward to the meeting. Let's just talk a bit about Leicester ahead of the new season. Back for your second season back at Leicester in the Premiership, if you like. It was a success last year, wasn't it? It went well. The team made the grand final, and you were a very consistent heat leader. So was it fairly straightforward to come back to Leicester again this year?
Yeah, I think it was pretty straightforward. I enjoyed my time back at Leicester again, and enjoy riding under Stewart as well. He's a good team manager, and gets the boys fired up, and it's pretty much a similar team. And I think we all get along well, so it's enjoyable to go there every week and ride. And but yeah, it's going to be a tough year again. Obviously, the league's definitely getting stronger, I think, and some of the teams on paper pretty crazy this year. So yeah, we're gonna have to improve, I think, and work as a team and see if we can get ourselves in the playoff again and see what happens.
Stuart says that there's another level in you. He says that you can get to an average of maybe 8 to 8.5. He says you've got to develop more of a ruthless streak to do that. Is that something you agree with, and might we see more of that?
Yeah, maybe a little bit. I feel like I've definitely got more in me still. So in a riding the way of looking at it, I think I'm improving still, and this year's obviously no different. I think I can go a bit further, and yeah, with the ruthless thing, I guess it can make those races where you can win a race or get a third. You can, if you be more ruthless in stages, you can maybe pick up a few extra points. So yeah, I'm definitely aware of it, and yeah, I guess there's a fine line sometimes between a hard ride and a bit dirty, I guess. So I try to stay on the clean side of things, but yeah, we'll see how we go.
You talk about how you're still improving, and it's quite interesting because some young riders will burst on the scene and make it to the top straight away. And there's others that are more gradual. And you look at the way Jason Doyle became sort of world class maybe in his early 30s. You've just sort of really started breaking into Poland as well. Is it something you're looking at that you keep on that gradual upward curve?
Yeah, exactly. I think it's a good way to be. Obviously, I would have liked to be at this level a bit sooner, but everyone's different, and now I'm here and I'm very close to breaking into the big time. So it's it is what it is, and like I've probably learned and I got gained more experience along the way, and maybe a few injuries slowed it down a little bit, and didn't get the opportunities to go abroad to Poland and stuff a bit earlier. So yeah, I think it's happened at the right time for me. I've got a bit of older head on my shoulders, I guess. So yeah, I think it's not a bad thing, and the body's still feeling good. So there's no reason why I can't still keep going in this direction for a few more years yet.
Yeah, because you made that call last winter to step out of the Championship and do just the Premiership, and also to really try and make it in Poland. I take it that's something that's worked out for you nicely, and you can look to push on again this year.
Yeah, exactly. It was a big risk, I guess. So I thought to myself, because you kind of do the 2 leagues in England, it's a bit of your bread and butter. You know what you get. You know you get the meets in every week, and to drop that was a bit tough to do. But I think it definitely paid off. I had a really good year in Poland, and kind of got my name out there now, and obviously got a good contract for this season, and it'll be my second year in Sweden as well. So I've kind of gone to that level now where I'm comfortable starting the season without the Championship, and looking to build further out there.
Okay, that's good stuff. So overall targets for this year, I guess team wise, it's trying to get honours, and individually say push on. What do you think you can achieve in 2025?
I know there's things I want to be better at, so I just more concentrate on trying to improve that, and wherever that takes me, I guess.
Absolutely, well, that's a good way to look at it. We're enjoying the sunshine in the background, so we're hoping that's going to stay the same for the weekend. It's good to see you back, Dougie, and we look forward to your testimonial and seeing everyone at the stadium on Saturday. Thanks for joining us.
Cheers, guys. Hope to see you there.
So Ryan Douglas's testimonial then, 4 o'clock on Saturday, March 22nd at the Hydroscand Arena, Beaumont Park, Leicester. And then, of course, it's the Ben Fund Bonanza, which takes place on Sunday, again with a top-class lineup, all racing for charity. And I'll talk you through that lineup in the next part of No Brakes, No Fear, where we'll also hear from Brady Kurtz, back-to-back winner of the Peter Craven Memorial.
So good, so good, so good.
Just in and so good. Thousands of spring finds up to 70% off are at Nordstrom Rack stores now. And that means thousands of fresh reasons to rack.
How did I not know Rack has Adidas?
Vince, Calvin Klein, Rag & Bone?
Obsessed.
Why do we rack? For the hottest deals.
Save on Madewell, Kate Spade New York, Sam Edelman, Joe's, and more. Great brands, great prices. That's why you rack.
Look around. You can find cars like these on AutoTrader. Like that car riding your tail. Or if you're tailgating right now, all those cars doubling as kitchens and living rooms are on AutoTrader too. Are you working out and listening to this ad at the same time? Well, multitasking pro, cars like the ones in the gym parking lot are for sale on AutoTrader. New cars, used cars, electric cars, maybe even flying cars. Okay, no flying cars, but as soon as they get invented, they'll be on AutoTrader. Just you wait. AutoTrader.
No Brakes, No Fear. The official British Speedway podcast.
Welcome back in this final part then, turning the spotlight on Brady Kurtz as the Bellevue captain swept to a dominant victory in the Peter Craven Memorial as he successfully retained the trophy in Manchester. Kurtz was the class of a field packed with world stars at the National Speedway Stadium after topping the qualifying scores on 13 points. He made no mistake in the 6-rider final. Dan Bewley and Jason Doyle were the other automatic qualifiers for the final, but it was Chris Holder who came through the semi and then took second overall after making a good start from Gate 2 before fending off a lap 2 challenge from Bewley, who had to settle for third. Doyle and Jamin Lidsey completed the finishes in the final, while Max Frick retired from fourth place on the third lap. Ryan Guest caught up with the winner then, back-to-back titles for Brady Kurtz.
Well, Brady Kurtz, winner of the Peter Craven Memorial here at Bellevue's National Speedway Stadium for a second successive year. Just how good does that feel?
Yeah, it's pretty cool. I really wanted to win it the first time, so winning it twice is something pretty cool. So it's a great way to start the year, no doubt. And I'm just enjoying being back behind the tapes, really.
I was going to say, it's only 12 months ago you were saying you were desperate to win this meeting. You were in the lineup for so many years. So to do it back-to-back, particularly when you consider the stacked field here tonight, that's now really impressive.
Yeah, for sure. I was looking at the lineup this morning and thought this is probably the best lineup we've had for it. And yeah, it's cool to just be in the final, let alone win. So I'm super happy to start the year when things are going well.
And you obviously had that first gate choice finishing top of the qualifying charts as well for that six-man final. Obviously totally different. Decided to place yourself right in the middle off gate 3 as well, but certainly made it work.
Yeah, there was a bit of talk between us all at the start line. No one really knew which gate to pick, but I thought at the time I took a bit of a gamble picking 3, but I think I was right.
Yeah, certainly proved that way. And like you say, this is hopefully going to be a massive year for yourself. It's one full of big meetings, and this could be the perfect way to get things started.
Yeah, I hope so. I think it's kind of a little bit of a year unknown, I think I could say. Unknown territory I'm kind of walking into. So, all I can do is prepare the best I could, which I think I have done. And, hopefully I'm good enough in the end.
Yeah, and next Monday it's the Knockout Cup here against Ipswich as well, and we've seen some of the Bellevue boys on track tonight as well, and some pluses for some of the boys to take, and some of the boys can work on other stuff as well.
For sure, I think it's it's going to be a good season for the Aces. I think we've got a great side, no doubt again, as it's pretty similar to last year, and I'm sure the lower guys definitely learned some experience today. I'm sure Tate found it tough in such a strong field, but I think he would have learned a lot. And I'm looking forward to a season where probably I can help Tate a lot. And I think we can have a good year.
Brady, congratulations and many thanks for speaking to us.
No worries, thank you.
Brady Kurtz, back-to-back winner of the Peter Craven Memorial Trophy, and kicking his season off in style in British Speedway. Of course, in the winter, he bagged the Australian Championship as well, and lining up in the Speedway Grand Prix Series as a regular for 2025 come May as well. The final 2 names for the Ben Fun Bonanza at Oxford have been added. It happens this Sunday, 23rd of March at 6 p.m. Recently signed cheater Jonas Knudsen, and was there ever any doubt, the ever-present Ben Barker, who has never missed a Bonanza in its history. Supporters need to remember that tickets for the meeting need to be bought in advance, no payment on the day, and they can be purchased via the Oxford or Speedway Riders Benevolent Fund websites. But it is a star-studded lineup, all raising money for the Speedway Riders Benevolent Fund. Here is the full field. It features Jason Doyle, who lines up in the Ben Fund Bonanza for the very first time, Charles Wright, Sam Masters, Danny King, Tom Brennan, Eric Riss, Tobias Mujilak, Adam Ellis, Freddie Lindgren, Louis Kerr, Max Frick, Matsej Janowski, Peter Kilderman, Justin Sedgman, Jonas Knudsen, Ben Barker, and the track reserve will be Dan Gilks. So great lineup there. Danny King is going for another one. He's won quite a few of these, and I think he's looking to make history in the Ben Fun Bonanza. Jason Doyle, of course, going there for his very first time, but it is a very competitive lineup indeed, and the racing gets underway at 6 o'clock. It is a packed programme as well. There'll also be some youth races thrown in there, and you're going to have plenty of action for your money, that's for sure. Ben Fun Bonanza, Oxford Stadium at 6 p.m. this Sunday. If you can't make it there in person, you can watch it on BSN. There is going to be a live stream on BSN, and of course by purchasing the live stream, you will be donating to the Ben Fund as well. So all the proceeds from that will go towards the Ben Fund. So whether you're there in person or wherever you're in the world, even, you'll be able to take that in on BSN, watch.britishspeedway.co.uk for all of that action. And then looking ahead to what's coming up as we get the Speedway season underway properly in the next week. On Monday, March 24th, action from the Premiership Knockout Cup quarter-final first leg. 6 of the 7 sides are in action, and that will feature the Bellevue Aces versus the Ipswich Witches at the National Speedway Stadium. That one will be on BSN as well if you're a Premiership subscriber to their coverage, or a Total Pass subscriber, or you can buy it as a one-off as well if you want to watch it on Monday night. Birmingham Brummies versus the Leicester Lions, and the Kings Lynn Stars versus the Oxford Spires make up the first round of the quarterfinals. And then it's the reverse fixtures on Thursday. Ipswich hosting Bellevue, Leicester hosting Birmingham Brummies, and Oxford Spires versus the Kings Lynn Stars. And that's your action for the next week ahead. We'll be back with more next week here on No Brakes, No Fear, where we'll bring you a flavour of what happened at the ROWE Motor Oil Premiership Media Day, which is happening also on Sunday before the Ben Fun, but throughout the day, stars of the Premiership will be gathering. Lots of interviews, lots of stuff coming your way, and we'll bring you a flavour of that on next week's episode. But if you can make any of those meetings, have a great week in Speedway. The season is very much back, and we'll be back with another episode next week. Take care.
No Brakes, No Fear. The official British Speedway podcast.
This podcast is part of the Sports Social Podcast Network.